Hello everybody, my name is Dakota. I am doing a video about what religion am I. So, I was going to do my intro video and my religion video in one video, but I realized that would make it way too long. So, this is the questionnaire that I've written myself. I'm still going to read the questions because it'll help me keep track of things. And hopefully y'all will find this helpful, and I hope in the future to upload other people answering these same questions. So if you like this, hopefully you'll like other ones in the future. But I figure I might as well put myself out there first because that's polite. What religion are you? So, I am a pagan luciferian. I value philosophies of various things, but mostly Satanism, Buddhism, Hinduism, and Taoism. I truly value those. Like, I could easily convert myself to one of those religions. Probably Hinduism or Satanism, depending which way I go. Like, do I go more atheistic? Do I go more theistic? My approach is very agnostic. Everything you will hear me say is not, this is how it is, you're wrong if you think otherwise. No. This is more of a theory. I do have a few things that I'm going to believe no matter what because of my own experience, and I will note that. But I don't think that you have to believe that. I don't think anyone has to believe that. So, yeah, that's. I think I'm also creating my own spirituality in a way. So, who knows? Maybe I'm just my own religion. How would you describe your religion? It's a religion. Actually, it's not. It's more of a spirituality. So paganism is a nature religion. That's like the core, if you worship or admire, have like great admiration for nature and you like to celebrate nature, you could probably easily be considered a pagan if you wanted to. Important aspects are polytheism. However, you don't necessarily have to be polytheistic. You can be whatever. You can even be atheist. The thing with the gods is more about symbolism than anything else. But many pagans do view these gods as maybe spirit guides. I haven't really heard anybody say these gods are just like mighty beings, like, oh, not gods in the sense of all perfect, all good, all whatever. So, yeah, I would say just belief in spirituality in general is also important, but I don't necessarily think you have to be that to consider yourself pagan. However, you'll line up more with paganism if you believe in these things, I guess. And I'm also Luciferian, which I believe Lucifer is someone who fights against God because God is tyrannical. He is a dictator. And I think that Lucifer, it brings us knowledge. He encourages free will, or at least freedom to do as you see fit, accept the consequences of your actions. It's a lot of similar philosophies to Satanism as well, which is once again accepting the consequences of your actions. You're your own god, so you're not necessarily. There's not a way to behave. Rather, if you act like a fool, you better be willing to accept those consequences. Also, I just side with Lucifer in the Bible more than I side with God. So, and like I said, my values are massively in knowledge. So, yeah. And that kind of is what the next question is about. What does it mean to you to be pagan, Luciferian? Well, for me, it just means I believe in a spirituality. I believe in worshiping nature. Like, nature is definitely a big part. And I view that in a way as almost celebrating science, really, because nature is science. And of course, following Lucifer, being that value of knowledge, being my own god, not getting caught up in the idea of like you have to be all good. If you are doing something bad, you're bad. I think it's more important to be what works with you. And I think naturally you'll be better for everyone else if you are what you are. Like, and you truly believe in that. Anyways, next question is, it is hard to see. How did you become your religion? So, I started off Christian. I grew up in a Holiness Pentecostal church in my younger years. Adolescence and teen years, I spent in various churches, mostly non-denominational. I don't think I ever really gave thought to what denomination I was Christian-wise. I just never really thought about it. I actually never gave a lot of thought to Christianity, like my belief. I just believed, and that was it. And then when I left Christianity, that's when I really got my interest in religion. So, yeah. But the story of that is when I was like in my late teens, I was starting to not really question, but I think I was getting interested in like energy work. I believed in that God gave us energy, I guess, to work with. I believed you could practice energy work outside of that, but like meditation wasn't just a Buddhist thing. It was, you could meditate as a Christian, and that's kind of the extent my energy work really went, was meditation. And honestly, I still believe that you can meditate and be Christian still. However, what really triggered the avalanche is taking a quiz that, and you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna link that in the description, because maybe I'll make one of y'all have an avalanche of changing religion. So I was Christian, but I got Hinduism on this quiz, and honestly, like, I felt like the questions were reasonable to ask about religion to figure out what religion you were. And so I was kind of confused, but I was kind of intrigued at the same time. I looked into it a little bit. I read the Gita, only a little bit though, not a whole lot because I was a teenager. I'm not going to read that much. uh, and that is where I started noticing the stuff being taught there was kind of similar to stuff being taught in the church about what the Bible says. Now, I'm also going to give you, I did not actually read the Bible when I was a teenager. And I will tell you later when I actually read the Bible, because I did eventually read it. But I really started questioning, like, well, if this religion says this and this religion says the same thing, like, wouldn't this suggest maybe the same God? Or, like, I really started having this, like, what, why are there other religions if this is the one true religion? And so as time went on, I got more interested in chakras, which is also Hindu. Oh my god, I also got interested in, like, energy work in general. I started using candles to influence energies. I think about when I hit 18, I really started to consider myself maybe more of a Wicca Christian. I didn't necessarily claim this, but that's kind of where I started getting at. And then, about when I was like 19, 20, I really started to become more of an omniist with like a Christian core. Also slightly Hindu core too. Like, it was like Christian, then Hindu, uh, pagan, like, I guess Wicca, and then just omniist, basically. Which omniism is the belief that all religions have the same core. And, I think, well, all religions have a piece of the puzzle, rather. And to a degree, I still believe that. As time went on, I kind of just kept with that belief, but I didn't realize it. But I was fading away from Christianity. I just started disagreeing more and more with what it was teaching. And one day I, like, jeez, what was I, 22? Somewhere between 21 and, like, but before, I don't think I was 23 yet. And I was like, I went to a church. I was sitting there like, why are all these people so engaged? I don't believe in this stuff, and I'm Christian. Like, my core is Christian. So why am I not so engaged? Why do I think that this stuff is not correct? Like, I just no longer was resonating with it. And I even just, like, towards the end, I kind of just went to the bathroom because I just was like, oh my god, I can't deal with this anymore. Like, this is such bullshit. And it took me leaving the church and really analyzing it, like on our way, like out of the parking lot, I was like, I think I was telling my dad or something, like, I don't think I'm a Christian anymore. Like, and I don't think I had been for a few years. Like, I just no longer was a Christian, and I hadn't been for at least probably a year or two. I mean, maybe even 3. I don't know. Like, it was probably more like 2 years, maybe 1 or 2. I think, yeah. Sorry, giving odd numbers. But I just did not resonate with it. I didn't believe in it anymore. I didn't believe what was being taught in the church. I don't even think I didn't view Jesus as a savior anymore. I didn't believe in God as this, like, all perfect, all loving, all whatever, everything God. And I was kind of in a weird place, and this is when I started reading the Bible. The Bible was something I tried to approach from a neutral stance. Like, okay, I'm going to read this as if I have never heard of Christianity, didn't know anything, because that's the only fair way to give God judgment, is like pretend like I don't know anything about it, because the Bible should be able to tell me everything about it and like what it stands for. And I was disgusted. I was appalled. It was just, oh my God, the incest, the violence, the wars. It was just, and honestly, really analyzing what the Garden of Eden was like. To me, it was like, the serpent didn't lie. They didn't die. And the serpent just told them that they will be like God, knowing good and evil. And God kind of confirmed that. He told the angels, like, or whoever the hell he was with, because he was like, they are now like us, knowing good and evil. And basically because of that, he kept them away from the tree of life and horrifically punished them. And that's supposed to be why everything is suffering now, because somebody ate a freaking fruit? Yeah, no. No. No, honey. No. So I found myself having, I had less issues with Lucifer in the Bible. I was like, Lucifer isn't even doing anything bad. I mean, literally, the worst he did was kill 10 people, and that was technically God telling him to go ahead and do it. Oh yeah, and another thing about the Bible that I hate was just he hardened Pharaoh's heart. He mind controlled Pharaoh. Like, no. You literally are making these people suffer. Up to the point where you harden his heart so much that now God's going to punish Pharaoh and his kingdom because God decided to harden his heart. So God literally forced the death and try to justify the death of children. Like, because the whole thing of the last plague being... I shouldn't go into this so much, but these are the things that really, really got me. And the more I looked into it, the more I was like, well, and assuming that the serpent was Lucifer, because that is what a lot of people say that the serpent was, even though it does not directly state that. But Lucifer doesn't seem to be the bad guy here. And so, for me, I still struggle with fear that the Bible is correct and all that stuff, and I just face that fear constantly. But I think to myself, and I'm like, honestly, if it's real, if the Bible is real, I'd rather follow Lucifer down to the pits of hell. Even if it's illogical for the Bible to be accurate, it's still just like, well, if it is. And so that's kind of how I started going into Luciferian beliefs, is that I sided more with Lucifer, and I started viewing him as this lover of knowledge, of freedom. Someone who was just trying to fight against tyranny, because that's what God is. He's a tyrant. He's a dictator. And I'm not okay with that. So, yeah, that's kind of what led me into Luciferianism. And honestly, I guess I kind of just had been pagan for some time without realizing it, because I valued nature, and I thought it was more important to worship the physical universe than some being out there that may or may not exist that is making us suffer, I guess. But also the belief in the flexibility, and both Luciferianism and paganism are very individualistic beliefs. Like, you will get different answers, especially to these questions I'm asking, from pagans and Luciferians. You will get different answers, maybe in a similar vein, but yeah. So that's kind of how I got here. That's my story. And the next question is, do you believe in a God? If so, what type of God is God? Is God a creator God? And did he create the world? If so, how so? And what is your relationship with him? The type of God, I am pantheistic, and this is the one thing that I got enlightened through meditation on, is that the physical universe is God. Everything within the universe, we are all interconnected. We are one with God. We're not something separate from God that's not God. We are God. Everything is God. This tissue box is God. This phone I am recording on is God. I am God. You are God. Is there anybody here who is not God? The answer is no. Meow. And so, I truly believe that, and this is something I felt enlightened through. I do not think anyone has to believe this. This is just what I have felt upon myself. Like, this is my own experience, so I understand if no one else agrees. Like, that's fair. But that is something I'm probably not going to change on. Like, you would have to provide me undeniable evidence that I am wrong. And honestly, I feel like I can be atheist and theistic with this because, well, maybe it's more divine, maybe it's not so divine, and the only thing that's worth calling a god is the physical universe. You know, I mean, have fun trying to disprove this. So yeah, I mean, that's how I believe. I do believe everyone is their own god in their own right. You have control, you're the only one who can save yourself, and we are all parts of God, and I think everything is interconnected with that God, and we are interconnected with each other, and I think it's kind of beautiful, and that we shouldn't hate people for no reason, because we really do share this beautiful divine thing in common. And I think it's important to respect each other as gods. And honestly, if I need to, yeah, I'll start beef with a god if I'm given reason. But if I'm not given good enough reason, I mean, why would I fight a god, you know? So that's my approach on that. Is God a creator? Well, yes and no. Right now, in my philosophy class, we are talking about how the idea of there's an argument for God that's something had to start somewhere, because if you go back far enough, what created this, you can say, your phone came from a factory, but then where did the pieces for that come from? What elements? And then eventually it's well, if it was part of the earth at some point, where did the earth come from? And then where did the universe come from? And it's illogical for the universe to exist without something having caused it. And whether that's the physical universe itself that caused itself, but that would also kind of suggest maybe the universe had always existed, in some way or form, outside of what we understand. However, I think it's also logical for a being to have existed outside, exist without something causing it, but something had to cause things, but that also means that something had to start somewhere. It's illogical for there not to be a starting point, but it's also illogical that starting point didn't get started by something else. And so I'm struggling with that one. I think science answers these questions. I've believed this since I was Christian to now, is if there is a God somewhere out there, they are controlling the science. Science is the act of God. And I've never thought that if you believe in God, you can't believe in science. I always believe God is making the universe through evolution, through the Big Bang, which I've heard somewhere that scientists might be thinking that the Big Bang might not be a thing. But if not, I mean, that's speculation. I haven't looked into it myself. But Big Bang or not, whatever science, I believe, answers how the world was created. I don't think that it just magically appeared. Um, that was probably rude, but I'm talking about what I believe in. And in my future videos, I will not be as biased, but this is my beliefs, so I'm gonna ride the full bias ride. My relationship with God. I believe the universe itself is like, I don't believe it's unconditional love, but more of a guidance. Like, it wants you to find what works for you. It wants you to be happy, but it also, like, it also doesn't necessarily, like, I don't think you can piss it off enough to, like, make it do bad things to you. It might just be like, okay, I'm gonna leave you alone for a while. But I feel it more as a guide to help you through things so that you can stand on your own rather than some loving being. Although sometimes love is part of that guidance, because sometimes you do need love, and the universe, spirit guides provide that. And I think, and some spirit guides not so much. As far as Lucifer goes, my experience with working with him as a spirit guide, he's more about just trying to help you stand on your own, but he doesn't seem to be, he's kind of, the vibe I get from him is like, if you're upset, is like they're just like like way out here, just like with a pole, just they're just awkward, like, I don't know how to deal with this shit. It's not that he doesn't care, but just like, that's not his forte. His forte is more about personal power, rather. And he will probably recommend you go to a different spirit guide if you're just needing love. So yeah, I mean, that's, and I do not view Lucifer as a god. In fact, I don't even believe the other gods as gods. I just believe them all as very strong spirit guides. Like, and I do believe, whether they're spirits themselves and forces of nature, maybe acting like energy, just bunches of energy, or maybe it's just symbolic, and maybe it's just me thinking, that's how I believe in that. So that's kind of my relationship with God. The next question is, do you believe in an afterlife? If so, describe it. Oh, lordy. I think that there are various outcomes for an afterlife. I have been feeling stronger of, like, your soul continues after this life. Maybe you go into nothingness for a while. That's possible, just as a break. Maybe, and I'm not opposed to nothingness being. I don't think we should be as concerned about the afterlife. I just think you might be reincarnated, you might haunt this world for a bit as a ghost, you might go into another plane of existence. But I don't think there's a specific afterlife for every person. I just think your soul continues. But like I said, I'm not opposed to nothingness. The only thing I do not, and I do not believe in whatsoever, is an all perfect, all, no bad things heaven, or the belief in an all torturous hell where you spend in one or the other place for all of eternity. I don't believe in that. It's illogical, it's immoral, and I just don't think, I don't see why anyone would. Like, it just doesn't make sense. I don't know why I ever did growing up, I guess just because that's what was taught to me. And I just believed it. But I think that is the only thing I will say absolutely not to. Like, I don't think an all good God would send you to hell to be tortured for eternity. I don't even think he'd send Hitler there for eternity. So, yeah, and honestly, I feel like you really lose your free will if you go to heaven in this all perfect, no more bad things. Like, you're not yourself anymore, because you need the bad to still be who you are in this world. And so, yeah, those are the only afterlife options I refuse to believe in, because reasons that I have already given. Okay, next question is, do you believe in a spiritual realm outside of the physical universe? So I believe all spiritual things like energy working is science. I believe it is a physical thing. I believe it is hard, and we do not have the proper equipment to detect such things. But I think that we do have, if all spiritual things are on the physical plane. I think there are multiple physical planes, and there might be one that maybe people would maybe consider a spiritual. But that's about it. Like, I think that spiritual beings do exist in our physical world. It's just, it's hard to detect them. So, and that might change. Who knows? As things go on, maybe. Next question is, are there rites, beliefs, or rituals that you are required to follow? If so, what? I don't believe there's anything you necessarily have to follow or believe in. Is there anything I want to add to that? Like, yeah, I don't think, I think the simple answer is just no. There is nothing you are required. The next question is, what are some important beliefs that you believe in or follow? Well, I believe in energy working. That is, I do believe in energies, spiritual energies, and once again, I believe that these can, if we had the right equipment, we could detect this and realize it as part of the physical world. But like, I believe in energy working. Everything has energy. This tissue box has energy. You have energy. This phone has energy. The wall behind me has energy. And I respect everything. I try to take good care of even items that I own because of this. Now, I refuse to restart this video, and my phone's about to die. So I will keep explaining things, but I am moving. So it might get darker, but that's okay. But I definitely energy working, and that is something I have gotten insight on through meditation. So, yeah, that's my... Oh boy! No! Oh my god. Y'all, I'm a mess. So, yeah, I believe that... I think that's my main thing that I believe in. I do not think I have other beliefs outside of that. Y'all, I'm so sorry. I tried to be professional, but I refuse to re-record this. I just refuse. And so, yeah, I think that I don't believe in a true good or evil. There's what I was trying to think of. I do not believe in good or evil. I think that everybody has a different spirituality. And I don't think it's right to force anybody to believe a certain way. Like, even though I have beef with Christianity, I still think some people belong there, and that's okay. That's the gist. Oh my god, I almost forgot. So my two core values that I value most above all, and I think are the most important things for anybody to have regardless of your religion, is compassion and knowledge. Those are the two most important things. If you do not have one or the other, I think you will suffer. I think that you will not live as good of a life as you could otherwise. And look at that. I am getting my setup. Do not fall. Oh. Okay. Y'all, I tried. So, yeah. That is... I think more than anything, having both of those qualities are valuable. So yeah, next question is, what are some... Oh wait, I just read that. I'm stupid. What symbols, holidays... Oh my god, I cannot do this. Motherfucker. If I can't do this, I might have to restart this video. Oh my god. No, I do not want to have to restart this video. I refuse. I should have this memorized, but I don't. Oh my god. Yeah, what symbols, holidays, items, concepts, activities do you celebrate or revere? So I revere nature, very much so. That is, and definitely the concept of knowledge and compassion. So that kind of goes in with the last question. And yeah, oh, I celebrate the pagan holidays, like the Wheel of the Year. It basically represents it's like a symbol of life, of the life cycle, because the first holiday is about birth and rebirth, and new beginnings, whereas the last holiday of the year is about death, and everything in between is the stages of life. and I think it's beautiful, and it's celebrating the turning of the earth, because it's on the solstices and the equinoxes and the days like right in the middle of those two. So yeah, that's y'all. I didn't have to restart this video because I'm on the last question now. So yeah, that's all for that one. But then the last question is there anything else to add? And even though I am pagan luciferian, as far as wanting to do ministry goes, I approach that more from a universalist stance. And I didn't mention that I follow universalist earlier, but I definitely do follow their philosophy. And as a minister, I would definitely be more of a universalist minister, for sure. I already talked a lot in length, so I think I covered just about everything I could have. Sorry for the end of this video being kind of less professional, but whatever. So thank you for watching, and hope this was educational for you. Bye.